Hey, this is Brian Crispin. Welcome to Voices of Hope podcast. Today I've got Perry Hines, our CEO here at Wheeler Mission. He's going to share not only some of his experiences here at Wheeler Mission, but also his personal journey on how God prepared him to be here. And he's got some great stories to tell about what he's experienced just in his few short years here at Wheeler Mission. So enjoy the podcast. I think you're going to love this one. Okay, I'm glad to have Perry Hines with us today. So Perry, welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here, Brian.
Yeah, I'm excited to unpack some of your story today, but also as the CEO of Wheeler Mission, I know you've seen some amazing things and have some insight that most people don't get to hear about normally. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that today. So thanks for coming.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I met you a few years ago, and I know we were just talking about some of your story with your children, but tell us a little bit about you. I mean, what's your family like? Tell us how many kids you have. Tell us about Perry a little bit. What's Perry like?
Perry's a pretty boring story,
Okay.
frankly. So, pretty boring. I grew up in a small town in Kentucky, 900 people, one stoplight, one mailbox. 64 of my graduating class in high school. Grew up in a family of 6 boys, no girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, try being the mother in that situation. So she tried 6 times to get a girl. She never got one.
Kept going.
And then she stopped after 6.
Oh, wow.
That's the kind of the family joke. And so, but no, I grew up in a real small clustered environment. First in my family to go to college, met my wife in college. And that was over 42 years ago. And so we've been married coming up this September, 39 years.
39 years.
Yeah, we have 2 boys, a 35-year-old neurologist who lives in D.C. with my only 2 grandkids.
Yeah.
I wish he were here. And my youngest son who just moved to Texas because he's got a girlfriend in Texas. He's a corporate lawyer now for T-Mobile.
Oh, wow.
T-Mobile.
So you got family all the way from D.C. to Texas and here in Indiana.
Absolutely.
All right, and obviously Kentucky still as well.
Kentucky still. My other brother is in Alabama. So I used to have 5 brothers. Now I've got 2 other brothers. So three of them passed away, unfortunately.
Okay. So you've been in Indiana for how long?
So about 30 years. So
30
people
years.
ask me, am I a Hoosier? And so I tend to say yes, because I've been here for 30 years. I might as well be a Hoosier, right? Even though I'm really from Kentucky.
Yeah, that's long enough to claim.
Oh,
it,
we're
right?
Hoosier, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So you've obviously had a long career before you came to Wheeler. You've just been at Wheeler for a couple of years. So tell us a little bit about what prepared you to be here at Wheeler Mission. Kind of what was God's plan for you in your journey as He prepared you for this position that you have here? What did that look like?
I often tell people that I am the most unlikely CEO of a rescue mission that you ever would have imagined.
Yeah.
I'm not a pastor. All of the other Wheeler Mission CEOs have been pastors. And so I come at it from a little different angle. But I really feel that God has called me to this work, called me to this mission. And, we've only been at it 2.5 years as CEO, been here 4. I can't believe I've been here for 4 years already.
Okay, yeah.
When I first came here in 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's just gone by so fast. But God has truly, truly blessed us in this ministry. But I really feel that all the stuff that God has really prepared me for, whether from a business perspective, working in my church, we were a long time, just recently left, but a long time members of Northview.
Okay.
Almost 30 years at Northview, and all the ministering and pastoring, kind of lay ministry I've been doing in my church, all of that stuff. God uses everything. He doesn't waste anything, and He's using all those things to help me help the folks that we see each and every night.
Yeah.
And our 200 plus employees and all of our donors and the volunteers. And so, my journey here is not a straight path.
Yeah.
Like a lot of folks, but it's been pretty circuitous.
Yeah.
But God has really, I think, prepared me for a time such as this.
And I bet as you've been through your time here at Wheeler, just in those 4 years, you probably looked back and be like, man, that's why I went through that situation, or that's what prepared me for this moment right here, right? Like I know that happens to me a lot. Whether happens to me when I'm raising my kids too, right? Like that's why God prepared me for this moment. But have you seen situations like that, like in your past, where it's like, man, I went through that, and now it's allowing me to take care of this the way that God needs me to do it here at Wheeler Missions?
Oh yeah, it comes up every day. Every day there will be something that we have to deal with. As the CEO, my job is to make sure everybody has the resources that they need,
Yeah.
that we're pursuing our strategic and spiritual and operational and financial goals. All those things, that's really what I concentrate on every day.
Yeah.
And some days I might concentrate more on the spiritual goals. Someday I might concentrate more on the strategic goals. It just depends. But every day there's something new and something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of examples I can point to. But one of the things that recently kind of just impressed upon me. I recently had some health challenges.
Oh, yeah.
And so being
Just the
laid
last
up
couple weeks, right? I mean,
last couple months,
Yeah.
right. And so just laying up in a hospital gives you a lot of time to reflect and basically slow down. God was really telling me to slow down. And I think that's what one of the lessons I'm taking from that is in our hectic daily lives here in Indianapolis, we're trying to make headway each and every day,
Yeah.
and do what's right for our guests that come through our doors every night. But at the same time, it's like sometimes I just feel like we're like little rats on a treadmill.
Yeah.
It's just we're pedaling so fast. But God allowed me time just to slow down, reflect, and really just get back and center and help me really refocus on what are we trying to do with Wheeler Mission? What are we trying to do in this mission, in the city, in our state, as well as nationally? And so, so one of the things that I've been seeing lately is to slow down and make sure that we are always listening to God.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet during that time you've had a chance to really reflect on your time at Wheeler Mission and some of the things that you've seen or been a part of, and just be able to sit in that moment a little bit longer in those memories and those thoughts, right? So, one of the things I wanted to ask you, because you've only been at Wheeler for 4 years, you've been the CEO for 2 years now?
Two and a half.
And
but who's counting?
Yeah, 2.5. And you took over for a 30-year veteran,
Yeah,
as Rick Alvis is our
incredible
former
man.
Yeah, and you've done a great job at that. But everything's been moving so fast. But to be able to sit and reflect, I mean, one of the things that people talk about a lot is there's a misconception on what someone who is experiencing homelessness is like, right? Like, what have they been through? What are their challenges? What are they like as a person? What's their story like? How do they get to that point? Is there anything that you've been able to learn just in your time here at Wheeler Mission, obviously reflecting during those moments you mentioned, that people would be interested to know, like, hey, I thought people would be like this, but they're not. They're like this, right? What do you think there?
Well, homelessness is a very complex issue.
Yeah.
There's no one thing that causes someone to become homeless. There are a multitude of reasons. There is usually an addiction of some type involved, either an alcoholic addiction or drug addiction. On top of that, you have usually some mental health challenges that come into play. You have those two kinds of things, and we see 60 to 70% of our folks every night have one or two of those, or if not both of them, that they're dealing with. And that's what we do, is come alongside them. But at the same time, there are other reasons that an individual can become homeless. Most of us, Brian, in this country are 1 or 2 or 3 paychecks away,
absolutely,
from being homeless, or one big medical bill away from becoming homeless, or one nasty protracted divorce, from homelessness. And so there are a lot of reasons that people show up at our door, not one specific reason. But what I found is, one of the biggest misconceptions is there are a couple, but one of the biggest ones is, a lot of people seem to think that homelessness is a result of something that the individual did or did not do.
It's their fault, right?
It's their fault,
yeah,
right? And nothing could be further from the truth. And so, like I said, oftentimes there are other circumstances in life, whether it's personal circumstances, addictions, mental health challenges, or whatever it is, that would cause someone to be homeless. Stats say that an individual can go in and out of homelessness 3 or 4 times in their life. And that's a pretty sobering statistic. It really is. And so, but that's a big misconception, is that they did it to themselves.
Yeah.
It's their fault. They're a drug addict, and, they just want money for drugs.
It's not that simple, right?
It's not that simple. It's not a one size fits all. Another big misconception that I find frustrating quite a bit is that homelessness, if you're homeless, then you are more prone to being a criminal or committing crimes.
Yeah.
And that the statistics just don't bear that out. I mean, individuals experiencing homelessness are no more prone to committing crimes than the average citizen.
Yeah.
But what happens is individuals who are unsheltered are just more visible. And then when crime occurs or something happens in the community, people tend to point fingers, and they tend to blame those individuals who are experiencing homelessness, and nothing could be further from the truth. Now, don't get me wrong.
There's certainly some
Don't
some,
get me wrong.
some issues there that
There are some
are
issues.
fault, right? Yeah.
There's some issues.
Yeah.
And does
like
crime
all
happen?
of us have fault, right?
Of
In
course,
a lot of situations.
of course,
Yeah.
of course. So those are a couple of the two biggest misconceptions
Yeah.
that I see. But a third misconception, and it hits home. You
Yeah.
know, if you were to go into one of our shelters, say last Christmas, think about a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid
Yeah.
spending Christmas Day homeless
Yeah.
at our children and women's center,
Yeah.
sleeping on a mat. Nothing more sobering, more heart wrenching and gut wrenching than that. Just knowing that a lot of other kids are waking up warm and snug in their beds, right?
Yeah.
Going downstairs and going to their Christmas tree and finding presents from Santa and eating cookies and hot cocoa. But homelessness does not take a vacation.
Yeah.
It does not recognize holidays.
Yeah. And those memories are memories that they'll have their whole life.
Yeah.
That they woke up on Christmas morning with no place to call their own, right?
right.
Those are stories they'll tell their whole life.
That's right.
And there's trauma there too.
right.
That you and I probably can't relate to, but we get to see that every day. I think you're so right that it's not simple, right? And a lot of times people have a simple fix when they are asked about homelessness, like, well, they should just get a job, or
Yep.
they should just
Yep.
be able to, clean up and get off whatever they're on and move on, right? Or just go get a place to live and get a roommate and move on, right? But it's deep, dark trauma in some of these people's lives, and you've seen that. So I mean, there's 700 to 800 people here every single night. And what always strikes me is you sometimes you meet that person in that moment. They're 50, 60 years old, but that person once was a 22-year-old a married man or woman, or they were a 15-year-old kid in high school, right? Like they have a story to tell. And that's when it's fun, is when you get to hear the stories and hear where they're from, and then you get to see that life restored, right? Ultimately.
Well, it's when you really get right down to it, it's about relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's about stories. You know, behind every story, there's a person.
Yeah.
Behind every person, there is a reason that they find themselves in this situation. And we know, from our worldview, that God cares about every single person and every single story.
Yeah.
And so we're blessed. I'm blessed every day to hear those kinds of stories and hear the impact that we're making. But at the same time, knowing that there's so much more we could do, so much more that is still left to do in this community.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there is. And so that leads into one of the things I want to talk to you about. So we're coming up here in about a few weeks. We're looking at World Homeless Day. Yeah, and something that Wheeler Mission is going to take part in a lot of different activities, raise awareness towards not only the issues here locally, but the issues that are going on nationwide. And people have a lot of questions. They don't really understand, again, what causes homelessness. Like, what is the magnitude? What are the numbers really like when it comes to how many people are experiencing that? And so on October 10th, World Homeless Day will be here. So talk to us a little bit about, like, obviously you've been in this space for a while now. What are some alarming numbers that you've noticed nationwide or locally? And I mean, what are those statistics? What are some statistics that stand out?
Well, World Homeless Day happens every year, right?
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to really shine a spotlight on the issue of homelessness from a national perspective. And so one of the things that we want to do this year is highlight, not only from a national perspective, but also from a local perspective, the issues dealing with homelessness. So, but nationally, homelessness is on the rise. There's no question, no getting around that. The numbers are pretty alarming, Brian, frankly, from a national perspective. There's something called a PIT count, PIT, point in time count.
Yeah.
It's really more or less a national census that the government does every year. And it's just a way for them to allocate funds, to the states and the cities to help combat the homeless problem or homeless issue. But last year they haven't really released a pit count for 2025 yet nationally, but we know in 2024 it's one night.
Yeah.
Usually in January, February, they never really tell you too much in advance what the night's going to be, just so that nobody can game the numbers of the system. But they take a census of those individuals who are in shelters like ours,
Yeah.
those individuals who are unsheltered, those individuals who are in the nooks and crannies of various parts of our city, and they come up with a number. Last year in 2024, that number was just shy of 700,000.
Oh, wow.
Nationally, 700,000.
Wow.
And then you would have cities like New York City, who is responsible for at least 350,000 of the 700, like half of it.
Yeah.
Right. And then you would have a big drop off with other big cities like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Los Angeles County. I think they're coming in around 75,000 or so. So a big drop off from 350,000 to
right?
75,000. These are people.
Yeah.
These are not stats. These are not numbers. These are individual people that we're talking about. This year, we know the pit count for Indianapolis. And we know it's an undercount because if you're homeless and you don't really want to be counted that evening,
you're gonna avoid that, right?
You're gonna avoid. You're not going to be found.
Yeah.
Right. That number for Indianapolis was 1,815 this year, and we're so fixed on that number. We know it's a 7% increase from last year.
Yeah.
And that's on top of, Brian, a 5% increase the year before.
Yeah.
So homelessness is on the rise nationally. It's on the rise here in Indianapolis. But I mean, I have great faith in our citizens of Indianapolis. You know what? We have a great city.
Yeah.
We have people who rise to the occasion. And I know we can meet this challenge. Together, we can meet this challenge.
Yeah. So Indianapolis, obviously not the scale that we see on some of the big cities, but the trend is the same, right?
Exactly.
That this is a growing issue that is impacting every city around the country, right? So I know there's, talk to us a little bit about the unique aspects of Indianapolis itself, right? Like this 1,800 number is smaller than other big cities, but there are unique challenges here in Indianapolis that other cities don't experience, and there are nonprofits stepping up in places here locally where maybe they don't in other cities. So tell us a little bit about the landscape here in Indianapolis.
Well, Indianapolis, there was a study done several years ago by Baylor University. It showed that Indianapolis is the largest metropolitan area without a city shelter.
Yeah.
And our city has starting to look at that and address that. But up until this point, we've had no city shelter. And you have to ask yourself, why?
Why? Yeah.
Why? Well, because they've had Wheeler Mission and other service providers.
But that speaks to how much the city loves and relies on Wheeler Mission too, right? And the work's being done at Wheeler Mission too, right?
Absolutely.
You've seen that.
Now that's unique for Indianapolis, but also unique for us is, and we know that 1815 number is an undercount nationally. There's evidence that number is a 10 to 15% undercount. Yeah. So basically, if you add on another couple hundred people, that's over 2,000 a night that are unhoused. Just point of reference and context, at the height of the pandemic back in 2020, that number was over 2,200 a night in Indianapolis. And that's when the city and Wheeler partnered up to run hotels. There was just an overflow. We had an unmet need, and we had to rise to the occasion. And so, collaboratively with the city, with funds that were provided by the federal government through the city, we were able to come alongside the city and help them run several hotels as overflow for a year.
These hotels were empty during that time.
They're empty.
Right?
It's a pandemic. Nobody's going to the hotels, right?
Yeah. What a unique solution, right?
Yeah. So that's something unique for Indianapolis. I think other cities did it, but we are really proud of Indianapolis, how we stepped up to the plate.
And that shows the collaboration that needs to take place for people experiencing homelessness to be cared for appropriately, right? It can't just take one organization. It certainly can't take the city by itself. There's this nonprofit and the city itself, and even corporations that step up to make sure that people are cared for, and then obviously individuals, which are the backbone of Wheeler Mission, right?
It was a textbook example of how public and private partnership can work together to step up, and we did. We stepped up to the challenge of the pandemic, and so those
numbers dipped from the pandemic, and you've been here since 2020, just after that happened, right?
Yeah.
And so you've seen those numbers dip down, but now it's going back up, and
That's
that's the landscape we're in now.
That's right.
Is that those numbers are rising? Obviously, expenses are rising in everyone's home, and so imagine taking care of a family of 5 in your own home. Wheeler Mission serves 700 people every single day. Those same costs that are affecting families of 5, 4, 6 at home.
Yeah.
We're experiencing that on scale here at Wheeler Mission, right?
We are. It's sometimes it seems overwhelming, right? I get asked quite often, why don't more people step up and help, or why does homelessness, the why questions, the WHY questions, why is homelessness seem so much more of an issue than in past years? There's so many answers to those questions, but the biggest why question is why we do what we do.
Yeah,
Brian, we've been at this over 132 years.
Yeah, 1893.
1893. And we do it because the Bible tells us to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's part of our faith. It's part of who we are. It's part of the Wheeler DNA.
Yeah.
That's what we do. People, ask me, is can you solve homelessness? And I say that homelessness is biblical from my perspective.
Yep.
The Bible, tells us that the poor and the widows and the orphans will always be among us. The needy will always be among us.
Yeah.
And so what is a more representative of the needy and the poor and the widows and orphans in our community, in modern day community, than those individuals experiencing homelessness? And
Absolutely.
But it's important how I don't think it's solvable. I don't think we can end homelessness, but we can solve it. We can solve the problem, and we can solve the problem by how we react and how we respond to the challenge.
Yeah. This is about being realistic with the problem too, right? And so there are tragedies that are going to happen in someone's life. And when that happens and their own personal safety net fails them, right? Their family's not there. There's no more couches to be a part of. Where are they going to go? That situation will always take place, and the poor are waiting for us to act appropriately, right? I was just bringing up the scripture you're talking about. Deuteronomy 15:11 says, "For there will never cease to be poor in the land. Therefore I command you, you shall open wide your hand to your brother, to the needy and to the poor in your land." So there's a commandment from God to take care of these individuals.
That's why we do what we do. That's why we've been doing it for 132 years. And by the generous support of individuals, churches, our fabulously generous foundations, private and public, other foundations, we've been able to meet the challenge, and we're proud of what we do here in the community. But it is something that's going to take everybody.
Sure.
It's not just on an organization like Wheeler or the other service providers in town. This is a community concern. It's
Everybody needs to step up. And everybody has resources available to them in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
It could be your time, could be financial donations, it could be assets you have here in the community. I know some landlords will step up and say, "Hey, I'll rent a place to you, even though you may have a background that may not be the best tenant that I'm looking to rent to, but hey, I want to give you a shot." It takes anybody who has resources to step in that space and help individuals.
There's so many ways people can help.
So when we talk about World Homeless Day, we're obviously a national issue. It's touching us right here in Indianapolis. It's a local issue as well. Wheeler Mission is a locally funded and operating nonprofit. So we operate right here in Indianapolis and in Bloomington.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, don't forget Bloomington.
Yeah, don't forget Bloomington, right?
We've been down in Bloomington as a main provider for the last 10 years.
Yeah. And we're the largest service provider.
Day one, when we back 10 years ago, there was an organization that asked us to come into the market and help them, and my predecessors agreed to do that, right? And from day one, when first day we opened the doors, we were the number one provider of homeless services in Bloomington, Monroe County.
Because the Lord commands us to help people who are poor. And we saw a need there, right? Yeah. And we've stepped into that space. Seems like Bloomington's far away, but that's an hour drive. It's not that far.
It's closer now with 69 being finished.
Straight shot.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some fun with having some conversations just like this here in a
Is
couple.
that what you call it?
Yeah,
Fun?
right. It's gonna be fun for me to watch.
You wait till your audience
Yeah.
hears what you got in mind for me.
What we're referring to is on October 9th and 10th, Wheeler Mission will take part in an event that's a national event, but it's going to take place here locally called Conversations on a Bench.
Yeah.
And so I've heard that you're going to be outside Wheeler Mission on a bench, as per the name, for how long?
In the cold.
How long? Well, it's October. It could be warm.
In Indianapolis, there can be anything
cold.
in October. But
Okay.
I'm bracing for the cold.
Yeah.
I'm a naturally cold person, so I'm gonna have tons of stuff on me. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna be out there for 24 hours. It's
Oh my
gonna
gosh.
be live streamed. We're part of
Wait, 24 hours straight. You're going to be
24
on
hours
this bench.
straight. 24 hours straight. I mean, I'll be out there. Just
And you're not sleeping. You're not going to go home and take a nap. Like this is.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm committed to this, and it is all an effort to really showcase not only World Homeless Day
Yeah.
that's happening around the same
Right.
time, but more importantly, really get down to the nuts and bolts, the grassroots part of it.
Yeah.
Conversations on the bench. You know, Jesus had so many conversations. You know, while he
Yeah.
was sitting, Jesus would sit at the well. He would sit on a hill.
Yeah.
You know, he sat in people's homes having authentic, genuine conversations.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're going to be trying to do, have authentic, genuine conversations. And Brian, conversations take time, right?
Yeah.
It takes time to have conversations. And so part of the
24 hours.
24 hours, what God was
economy.
telling me before in the hospital, slow down,
Take your time.
Terry. Slow down. And so for me, this particularly hits home as we're part of this an effort nationally by our association, our trade association called Citygate Network. You know, all the homeless missions and 300 or so homeless missions around the country are a part of Citygate.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get at least 100 to participate on the same day, you know, same 24-hour period of time to have these conversations on the bench.
So this is a national movement.
It is.
That is going to have you here as our local
here.
representative here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
How's so obviously again we've talked about this national issue. Those stories will be different all over the country, but
Yep.
here locally, what kind of conversations are you hoping to have? Who are you hoping to talk to? I mean, what kind of are we talking easy conversations? Is it simple discussions about surface issues? Or are you hoping to get deep on this thing and really to figure out what's going on with the issue?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes, all of it.
I want all the above, you know. So, you know, one of the reasons I want to do this is not only to highlight the World Homeless Day,
Yeah.
but also just remind people here in Indianapolis that it's about authentic relationships. Because without authentic relationships, you really can't have true life transformation.
Yeah.
And we know that if we are going to make a dent in homelessness and individuals experiencing homelessness, we have to have life transformation. And so a precursor to that, quite frankly, are conversations.
Yeah.
And so I want to have conversations with people who just walk up.
Okay.
I want to have conversations with people in our shelters. I want to have conversations with business and civic leaders, you know, faith leaders. You know, I would love if little boys and girls come and talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on a bench for 24 hours.
Kids can be very curious,
Oh, I
right? They
love
can
it.
ask questions that you wouldn't have thought are coming out of their mouth.
I love it. And I do want to have authentic, genuine conversations. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some surface conversations, but what I'm really been praying about and hoping for is for us to have authentic, genuine conversations that and talk to people who may not agree with our approach to helping, you know, how we approach the unsheltered here in Indianapolis. And we have folks like that in the community. You know, I welcome them, not too many. I welcome them to come and talk to me, right? You know, and I want them to understand where we're coming from, who Wheeler is, if they don't already know. A big misconception, you talked about misconceptions before about homelessness in general. I mean, even though we've been here 132 years, Brian, you know, we have, say it all the time, we have high brand awareness, but we have low brand knowledge.
Yeah.
People don't understand and know all the multitude of services that we have available to us, that we have been providing to this community for years and even decades.
They don't get a chance to come inside our walls very often.
Yeah.
Some people, we have lots of volunteers that come in, they serve a meal, they get to see that part of our ministry, but what goes on behind closed doors and the hard conversations and our programs that can go from anywhere from, you know, a few weeks all the way up to months long. Like you don't get to hear all those stories and see life transformed, like our staff does, and like
Yeah.
certainly you've been able to
Yeah.
see throughout your time here at Wheeler Mission. So I'm excited to hear what comes out of that. So so to kind of recap what that is for 24 hours, Perry as our CEO is going to be on the bench outside of Wheeler Mission,
On October,
not experiencing homelessness
In
in October, not experiencing homelessness or acting as if we're homeless, but standing outside to say, hey, there's an issue in our community. We want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And let's just have those hard conversations. Right? Let's
another
shine
thing
light on 'em.
another thing I'm really hoping comes out of this is some insight for me
Yeah.
that I can take back and help inform my decisions when we're working with our folks, our executive teams, as well as our front lines folks. I mean, I'm looking for any and all ideas. This is, we are not, sitting here saying we have all the answers.
Yeah.
Right. We have a lot of them. We've been at this thing for 132 years, but I am open to any and all solutions that make sense for Wheeler, and I think makes sense for
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
No idea is a bad idea, right? When it comes to, hey, let's figure out how we can help these people, right? So, so that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun for you. I'm gonna
Interesting
watch.
is a good word.
Yeah, I'll take naps. You won't. But I don't know how you're gonna stay up for 24 hours straight. I'm sure you'll be delusional at one point. But
Yeah,
that's
I'll
probably
probably
when
be
the good
talking
stuff
out of
will
my
come out.
head and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, God will take care of me. I'm not
Well, this
there.
whole thing is going to be live streamed on our social media channels, on our Facebook site and our YouTube site. And so people will get to watch it even if they can't come down and take part in it. But as you said, there's going to be times where we have open slots for people to just stop by and get in line and say, hey, I'd like to talk to Perry for a little while and get your ear for a bit.
I want people to tune in. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun thing. What I'm looking most forward to is there's about 75 other CEOs doing it in other cities. We have 3 here in Indiana. I think my good friend in Evansville, Tracy, is doing it.
Okay.
And my good friend up in Warsaw, Eric is doing it.
Oh, good.
So we're all going to be
swap
doing
stories
it. Yeah,
after
we're going
that.
to swap stories.
Yeah.
And we're going to have, from my understanding, what my folks tell me, marketing communications folks tell me, that I'm going to be able to see what they're doing and maybe even have some live conversations with them.
Yeah, it'll be interactive for sure. I think we should have a conversation after that too, just to talk about what all happened that
it'd be
day
fun.
too, right? And
I'm looking forward to
your. So, so World Homeless Day is what day again? October 10th.
October 10th.
And conversations on a bench will take place starting on the 9th at 3:00 p.m.
3
And it's
p.m.
going to go all the way till 3
to
o'clock.
3 p.m. on October the 10th.
Yeah,
Right.
and so some great things happening here in Indianapolis. Obviously, again, we're reflective of what's happening nationwide. It's a different story here, but we have people in the trenches that are helping, and we appreciate your leadership here at Wheeler Mission. Just for a few short years, but you've made great impact here for sure.
Well, I'm just open to God using me and using working through me and in me to further this mission that we have here. It's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to serve others.
Yeah, God's definitely using you. He's prepared you for this moment. You're involved in this key issue. We have over 200 staff that are involved in this key issue in ways that they've been called to do so. We have volunteers who come in daily. But if people are listening to this and they want to say, I want to get involved in that, I want to be a part of helping people experiencing homelessness, addiction, poverty, hunger, like what's a first step you would recommend that they would just plug in either today or sometime soon, either with by themselves or with their family or friends? Or
Yeah, I mean, if you know anything about me, I'm a good old country boy from Kentucky, and so I have to use mnemonic devices to help me. So people ask me this quite a bit. What can they do? How can they make an impact right now? And I basically say it's PSS.
Okay.
First of all, pray. Pray for us. Pray for World Homeless Day. Pray for me sitting on a bench.
Yeah.
Really, pray for me.
Yeah.
Sitting on a bench in October, but mostly pray for those men, women, and children we see every night.
Yeah.
So serve. Come and serve. Serve a meal. Sort donations at our distribution center or at our thrift store. Up in Fishers. Or use your special skills. If you have special skills, use your special skills. I mean, we have people who serve not only meals and sorting donations, but they may have special skills that they provide. Doctors, nurses, hairstylists, right? Barbers. you know, can come in and serve and volunteer. We welcome any and all those kinds of things. I often tell the story of one gentleman. He was retired, but he loved to shine shoes.
Okay.
And so we worked with him, and next thing you know, he's shining shoes that are donated in our thrift store.
Yeah.
That before they go and they're put on sale at our thrift store, he would shine the shoes. And that was what he did, 1 or 2 days a week. He's unfortunately passed, but he did that for a long time. And so that's one way to volunteer. Shine shoes.
Yeah.
There's so many other ways. And the last, the other S is just to share. Share our mission, share our story, share it on your social media pages. Share it with your neighbors, your life group.
People need to know.
People need to know.
Yeah.
Last year we had 13,000 about 13,000 volunteers contributing over 30,000 volunteer hours to Wheeler. And so, but there's so many things that they can do, and it's all online. You can go online and see every single thing that you can do in every time slot, and each of the places in our shelters that you can do it in.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to get plugged in here at Wheeler Mission. Right now, if you go on any of our social media channel, or you just search the hashtag Find Your Place.
Okay.
We're actually doing a campaign where people are going to be posting content online about how they found their place here at Wheeler Mission, and they got plugged in. It's coming up soon, so
I don't know about this.
we're gonna get you on video to do the same thing.
It sounds good.
Yeah, because people they want to do something about this, and they see people on the streets that are suffering. They hear the stories on their local news, and I want to do something about this. And when they come in and they get plugged in, they love it, and we're encouraging them to share that story, share that with their friends and family, and just people they're connected with, and offer that opportunity for them too. So Find Your Place is a hashtag.
Oh, we have these scheduled tours too, right?
Yeah, you can come check out our facilities. Yeah,
check out our facilities, scheduled tours, not only in Bloomington but also here in Indianapolis. And I tell people quite often that, and rather than me telling you what we do, why don't you just come see and experience? We'll set up a tour. And we love to show people what we do each and every day.
Yeah. So our website's a great resource for that. You can volunteer straight on wheelermission.org. You can see some of these stories, hear stories of life transformation, get plugged in with some of the resources you're talking about.
Our award-winning website.
Website.
Our award-winning, that organization I told you before, Citygate.
Yeah.
They saw fit to award us as the website of the year. Recently. Very proud of that. Very proud of our marketing communication.
Yeah, and it's user friendly, so we want it to make it easy for people to get plugged in. So I think that's what you'll find when you go to wheelermission.org.
Okay.
Right? And you can even go to some of our events like Drumstick Dash, connect to our golf fundraiser if you want to get plugged in as a golfer. There's lots of places for people to find their place, right? Find Your Place is the hashtag we're looking at. Well, Perry, thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing more of these conversations
that's it?
On October 10th. Yeah, that's it.
Where'd
it's
the time go?
Easy.
We're just getting.
Hey,
I'm just getting started up.
This has been a while now. I know, right?
Yeah.
No, we're gonna let you get back to your day, but I think the more we're gonna have you on this more, and I'd love to hear some more of your stories, and I want to hear about how Conversations on a Bench went when we're done. But first of all, let's tune in on October 9th and 10th and hear you somehow get through 24 hours being without sleep. So
I'm telling my family from all across the country, tune in, and they can see it, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
Frankly, cause it's cold. It's going to be cold.
And there will be times where it's 2 a.m., right? And you're still out there. This is not just during the day. So
I can talk, but it's going to stretch me a bit. Yeah. Even for me to talk that much, or even I want to do more listening than talking, frankly.
Sure. Well, I think it's going to be an experience you won't forget, but I think people will really learn more about this issue. They'll learn ways to get plugged in, and they'll have an opportunity to speak to the issue as well and have their voices be heard.
Yeah.
And again, you're looking to hear other people's opinions and their stories as well. So, all right. Well, Perry, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Brian.
We'll talk soon.
Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey, if this podcast episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to dig a little bit deeper. Check out some of our other podcast episodes. We're going to tell lots of great stories that are going to really bless you. You're going to hear more about experiences that people experiencing homelessness have. What is that like for them, right? You're going to hear more about what goes on inside of Wheeler Mission's walls. You're going to hear stories from some of our friends in the community. But check those out. But you can also get plugged in right here at Wheeler Mission. We'd love for you to volunteer. Sometimes that can be just serving a meal, but there's lots of great ways to come and get plugged in here as a volunteer. Also, if you know somebody that needs help, Wheeler Mission is a resource for you. And so point them our direction. You can get all those phone numbers and websites to get plugged in at wheelermission.org. Again, send people our way who need help or get plugged in yourself. But again, we thank you for listening.